Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. It is July 7th, 10:16 p.m. 4th of July week is at an end. Lee, how you doing? How you been?
I've been all right. I'm doing okay. I've been all right. How about yourself, bud?
Pretty good. What's not been good on the field, at least, is the Pirates. They had a pretty poor week, I would say.
Yeah.
At home, only winning 2 out of 6 between the Cardinals and the Mets, two teams that they're chasing the wild card. Right now, they stand at 42 and 47, 5 games under. Probably the first time they've been 5 games under in a long while. They've been treading water, going 500, pretty much 5-5 for the last month. It seems
wow.
like each 10 games has been 5-5. But right now they're 10 games out of the division, and they sit 4.5 games out of the wild card. So on the field, things aren't going too great for the Pirates, but they did get some good news. I think that's going to be our first topic of tonight. It will be the All-Star game. We got 2 All-Stars for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I couldn't tell you who they are, but let's let manager Derek Shelton give his little spiel that he gave before announcing the 2 All-Stars today.
Sounds good.
About going to the All-Star game and it being really important. I feel very strongly that we have multiple people that should be going that are not going, and that's unfortunate. But on the flip side of that, we are going to celebrate the people that are going because it's really important. I was fortunate enough, and Kutch, honored me last year, and it was very important to me. Tony Leo, we honored, who is going this year. This is a special game. This is a special thing to be part of. So the first person we have going is going for the second time. And he should get a bottle of bourbon, but I'll give him a bottle of champagne, Brian Reynolds.
Good start so far. Just keep grinding. We'll, get to where we want to get to.
So first All-Stars, Brian Reynolds. He's had a great season so far, especially the last month and a half. Right now he sits at a 281 average, 101 hits, 39 runs, 16 home runs, 54 RBI, and an OPS of 827. Here's how that ranks in the National League among outfielders. He's second in home runs, second in slugging, second in OPS, third in batting average, and tied for fourth in RBI. So he's earned this. I was kind of worried that the Pirates were going to be stuck with 1 All-Star, but Reynolds, he's earned the spot here, and then we got 1 more on the way. Do you want to go in on those numbers with Reynolds real quick, and then we'll move on to the next guy?
Yeah, he's been having like you said, a terrific past month and a half, almost 2 months now. It's just incredible to see a player of his stature, getting to go back for a second time to the All-Star game. It's, not every player gets to go. And, for somebody like him that's on his way back, it's really great to see. It just goes to show, the type of player he is and how he's been performing this season. And especially the numbers have just been fantastic with where he's at right now in the NL League. I think it's just amazing to see, and I'm hoping that he can continue this run that he's on after the All-Star game ends. So be glad to see how the rest of the season goes for him coming up.
Yeah, it's good to see, and it's especially good knowing that he's locked up for the next 6 years at least through 2030. They had the big contract that they signed with him, the first $100 million contract about a year and a half ago now that they were able to get done, and it's just nice to see that that's working out at least for now. He's got his All-Star. He's back to the All-Star game, like you said, for the second time, and he's been excellent for the last month and a half. Next guy we got going, let's see what Shonen has to say.
And for his first time, Paul Skenes.
I don't know, this is cool. And I'm just grateful for all you guys. Since first to have been here. I've been a part of the team, so couldn't have done it without you guys.
Nice little speech and talk from the young guy. Good to
Yeah.
see him being humble. He's the first Pirates rookie pitcher ever to be selected to the All-Star game, and he's also the first #1 overall pick to make it to an All-Star game the year after he was drafted. He was drafted less than a year ago, I'm pretty sure, because it was at the All-Star break, so he's made it to the All-Star game in almost record time, especially for a pitcher there. So he has a 5-0 record right now, 2.12 ERA, 78 strikeouts, 221 average against, and a WHIP of 1.01. He's averaging 11.83 strikeouts per 9 innings. So he's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I was kind of concerned that he wouldn't have enough starts to get recognition here, but I think it's the right choice, especially for the game of baseball. He's someone that you want the nation to watch and see how great he is. So it'll be fun to see him out there.
Yeah, for sure. He's been putting on a show and a clinic, when he's out there. We've already, shown some clips, through the couple of weeks that we've done this, in the previous weeks that we've been doing this, of how he's been performing. It's just amazing. The numbers are amazing, especially for a rookie. And the fact that he's making an all-star, game like this, it just definitely shows how good of a talent he is, and that the Pirates, did, a great thing selecting him, #1 overall. And he's been, living up to the hype and living up to being that #1 prospect. And he's just been phenomenal, in the league right now and for the Pirates. And, I wanted to ask you real quick, while we're on the topic of him, where do you think he stands right now with, this first half of the MLB season with pitchers? What do you kind of see right now? I understand that, we're watching the Pirates and we're talking about the Pirates, but if you see anything else with any other, pitchers, where do you think he's standing right now?
I mean, it's tough to argue against him being a top 5 pitcher in the National League right now. His splinter, as they call it, is pretty much the best pitch in baseball at the moment. It seems like everyone is starting to come to that conclusion. I'm not any expert, but a lot of guys are saying that his splitter is already the best pitch in all of baseball.
Yeah.
His fastball gets hit a little bit, even though it's 100 miles. I think it's averaging like 99.8. He gets over 100 miles all the time. But it's that splitter that it seems to make him shine more than any other guy in the league can, really.
Yeah.
And he keeps performing well. I mean, it seems like he's getting stronger too. He's starting to go longer in games. Like you were asking about that earlier in the season, I think. But he's doing that now, and he doesn't have the track record some guys have. But I think it's tough to not put him in the top 5 pitchers in the National League at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. He's just been phenomenal to watch, and just to kind of see him out there. I can't wait for him to get his first, complete game, to at least play a full 9 innings, and just to kind of see how he does for a full game one day, soon in the future. So I'm excited to see him on his way to the All-Star game. It'll be amazing to see him out there with some of the best right now in the game, and just to kind of see what kind of performance he can display out there. So I'm excited for both of them, and I'm excited to see him out there during that All-Star game.
Yeah, it'll be a fun spotlight to see him get. Assuming he'll get an inning. I don't see any reason why the Pirates are going to tell him to shut him down or anything. It'll be fun to see him get out there and go against some of the best players in the American League. Yeah. And it'll be a nice highlight for everyone, I think, in baseball. They're really excited to see it. Finishing up on the All-Star game, there weren't too many guys that could argue that they were snubbed, but I just give a shout out to Mitch Keller, who's having a good season. He's 9-5, 3.48 ERA. So he's a guy, if he would have made it, no one would have been really shocked, but he didn't make it this year. It's two players on the Pirates who are 40, 42 and 47, right? They I mean, that's not too crazy to say. Having 3 guys from a team that hasn't done much this year, especially when it's a borderline call with Keller, I'm not too surprised with that one there.
Yeah, no, same here. I mean, we got the best players that are performing right now for the Pirates going, and I think it's good to just see them too. Again, you'd love to see more players from your team being able to participate. Maybe, next year, as this team is improving, maybe next year we'll get more players. So we'll just got to hope to see that improves and changes for next year.
And there's always guys who drop out right before this All-Star game, so maybe there's a shot that Mitch can find his way in this year even. So we'll see how that ends up for him.
For sure.
But yeah, on the field, like I was saying, it was a 2-4 week. They had an offensive explosion on Friday night, but since then it's been pretty substandard. But the standard, I guess, for the Pirates lately, it's just how they've been. They haven't been scoring runs, and it's been a problem for long enough. And then the other big part that we saw was that Bailey Falter has been injured, and since the last time we talked, Jared Jones is also injured. Both of those guys are on the 15-day IL. Big pieces. I think I've read that Jones might be out for a whole month, and then Bailey Falter. I haven't heard an update on Falter yet, but those are two guys that have been performing great. Both ERAs in the threes. Both have been steady since the opening of the season. It's starting to look a little hairy for the playoff run. They need a spark. They need something to come through because they're looking at a 42-47 record, down two of their starters that have been great all season. They've already had injuries in the past. They're down their closer. The hitting just hasn't been there. It's a scary part for them right now. They got this next week and then the All-Star break. Maybe they can clean some stuff up, but I'm starting to be concerned for the playoff hunt this year.
Yeah, I hear you. And I wanted to ask you, with the All-Star break coming up and they can get a little bit of a rest for themselves, what do you think the Pirates need to do the second half of the season after the All-Star break to at least try to get to that final wild card spot or to at least improve up in their division?
They need offense. I think it's pretty simple. The question is that going to be internally? Is that going to be Jack Sawinski turning it on? He's been pretty bad for most of the season, but the last 2 weeks or so, he's starting to show, maybe a week, I would say. He's showing a little bit of life. I think he's 16 for his last 14. Maybe he can do what Rowdy Tellez did, where Rowdy was awful for 2 months, and then he turned it on in June, and he's got numbers that are back up to where he's been historically in his career, even better than what he's been historically in his career. So that's what we need. We need someone. We need Brian Hayes to play better. So those are two guys internally, and then externally, they got to find somebody that can hit if they want to succeed and let down the stretches. Preferably an outfielder or a first baseman, I guess. But one of those. I mean, if you want to get crazy, you can go catcher too. Catcher, people value catcher, so you're not going to get a great catcher, and you have supposed depth long term at catcher position. But right now, Henry Davis hasn't played well. He's in the minor leagues. He just got sent down to AAA after getting off the injured list. Yasmani Grandal has been a failure of a signing, and I think that's the big thing that's kind of scary is all these free agent signings have pretty much flopped for the Pirates. Yeah. Chapman had another blown save today. He's been walking guys at a rate that you just don't see in baseball. He's close to 9 per inning. He's averaging like a walk an inning, which is just something you don't see, and it's alarming, especially when it's a guy that's older. He's up in age, so maybe that's why. Once you get older, it's tough to say, oh, he'll just bounce back, because I mean this could be the end of his career. They paid $12.5 million, and right now it's easy to play devil's advocate, not devil's advocate, but help me out here, Lee. When you revisionist history, that's probably not the right word I'm looking for, but it is revisionist history to go, hey, they should have got a bat this offseason with that $12.5 million. They could have got someone, added that money with the Michael A. Taylor money or something, and got a guy who's played pretty well. Mm-hmm. I don't know who that name is right off the top of my head, so that's also part of the problem with revisionist history, where you can go, oh, yeah, they could have got this guy, that guy, but we're in July, and it's easy to hit on that, but at this point, if they don't turn this around and they don't make the playoffs, I think you have to question whether Ben Cherington, the GM, should keep his job for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I hear you. I agree.
I guess that'll be it for the Bucko talk. But Steelers, it's the off season. There's not much going on, but I figured I'd find some little things to talk about. Researching, going around, looking at the Athletic. They had something, one of the most concerning things going into the training camp for each team and for the Steelers. They asked the question we've asked a lot now. Maybe it's getting a little repetitive. Will the Steelers make a big splash for receivers? So I'll just read out what they had said. It's a little blurb here. The Steelers traded Deontay Johnson in the offseason, then created cap space before the draft with the assumption that they would take a swing at a big-time receiver in either free agency or trademark to play alongside George Pickens. Nothing even ever materialized, and the Steelers headed into training camp with a sizable question mark at receiver 2. They will let the group of Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, and Marquez Callaway battle out in camp. But whoever comes away with the victory will do little to prevent other teams from bracketing Pickens. That's where a trade for either of the 49ers receivers, Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel, might materialize, because it's unlikely one of the aforementioned receivers suddenly turns into a legitimate second threat for Russell Wilson. So that's a little thing there. I know we've talked about it a bunch, but any update on your mind, what to say about that there?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a topic that, again, like you said, we've hit on before in the past, and it's definitely going to be something that's going to continue to go forward up until the preseason and the season starts. I think I had said this last time. I kind of feel like if they haven't made a decision now, I don't think it's going to happen now at this point. I mean, there is still time to make that, we're, just the beginning of July. We still have, time to, till the preseason starts. But I think it's going to have to be one of the, the mentioned players that you named. That's probably going to be number 2. That's going to have to step up here in, off season, OTAs, mini camp, things like that. Those are going to be, somebody there's going to have to do it. I kind of think, the one that could be a threat, for, Russell Wilson as a second guy would be Calvin Austin, only because of the speed. I think that he could be the guy that could be alongside George Pickens. Now, we did see some plays in the preseason in the past couple of years and during the season with him on like a streak play, being wide open, being able to score on a long play. But, again, we didn't get to see enough of him to be a number 2, because we did have Deontay Johnson as our number 1 at the time, and George Pickens is number 2. So right now, with George Pickens being number 1, I'm hoping that somebody is stepping up in minicamp right now to be that guy. But I haven't seen any rumors. I haven't seen anything going on lately. It would be nice to get a Deebo Samuels or a Brandon Ayuk on the team, but I think right now, if they have not made any type of move, I just don't think it's going to happen now.
I mean, if that's the case, it's just a failure. It's a total failure. It's embarrassing, honestly, that they couldn't find some kind of move here at the receiver position, especially when you had the draft there for you. You had options to trade some picks if you needed to, and we like to call them calling the dawn. But I mean, you can't go into a season suggesting that Calvin Austin's your number 2. It's not what you can do. If you want to win games, especially in today's game, you're just not going to win with with your number 2 guy being Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson or Van Jefferson. And I mean, George Pickens is a great player. He hasn't proven to be the number 1 guy yet either. So it could be bad. I mean, hopefully. I think there's plenty of time left, honestly. In my opinion, you can get a receiver in spring or in training camp. You can get them in preseason football. There's plenty of time left to get a deal done. It's happened before with guys that they get traded right before the season starts. So I'm not worried about the timing, honestly. But if they don't do anything, I think it's a really bad choice on their part, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I hear you.
And then they had one more article. It's like a little ACC or AFC North preview. The one big question in here for the Steelers was, can Russell Wilson return to form? I think so. It's pretty simple to say. I think he didn't have an awful season last year. The wins weren't there, I guess, for the Broncos, but I mean, I still think he's got something left in the tank, and he won't be the problem. But the problem is that these receivers are lacking, and I don't know if I think that's going to affect him to the point that maybe he could improve, but we may not see it on the field.
Yeah, for sure. Not just, giving him enough weapons for sure. It could make it seem like, he's not the player that we want, but it's not even his fault. When he left Seattle and went to Denver, I mean, it seemed like he was ready to, reinvent his image and try to win again. But it just seemed like a weird fit for him when he went to Denver at first. And you could definitely tell he wanted to continue to be Russell Wilson, but I just don't think he had the right coach and the right system for himself while he was there in Denver. And, hopefully, here in Pittsburgh, it's a better, playing scene and playing option for him here. I think that he definitely can be the Russell Wilson of old, and be that, that star player that we've seen in the past. It's just, can the Steelers organization make one nice big blockbuster move to get him a weapon or two before the season starts so that he can actually be out there and be Russell Wilson of the past? I think he can do it. It's just, is the Steelers organization going to help?
And then the other question I got for you, sitting here July 7th, is will they be better than they were in 2023, which would be 10 wins, even with this schedule that is ranked as the toughest schedule in the league? Do you see them getting to 10 wins at least?
I don't know. I mean, that second half of the season is so brutal. I just don't know. I mean, they have to, you gotta hope for no injuries. You gotta hope Russell Wilson is who he is. Hopefully that somebody can step up as a wide receiver if we don't get anybody. Hopefully Arthur Smith's system is good enough to get us there. I mean, I think they could easily go undefeated that first half of the season. But after that bye week and after the Commanders game, it's definitely, a rough stretch for them. I mean, you're playing the defending champs Chiefs. You're playing in Philadelphia, where we never really play that well at. You got all the divisional games on the other half. I mean, it's always tough there, just to not be able to see where you stand in the division coming out of the bye week. I mean, that's going to be tough. I mean, is it possible? Sure. I just don't think they're going to be 10 wins. They could easily, have a losing season this year. I would like them to maybe make it to 9-8. It's going to be tough, but it could be a losing season for the Steelers and for Mike Tomlin. His first one could be this year.
Yeah, I'm at right now, July 7th. A lot can change. Just seeing them play on the field, maybe that can change my mind. But right now, I do think the streak ends. I think this is the first losing season for Tomlin. The receiving core, it's a mess in my opinion. The defense is getting older. I don't know why I'm so down right now.
Yeah.
It seems around the draft you get a little excited, but right now it's just I thought they were going to make a move at receiver.
Yeah.
And it just looking more and more at everything. It's concerning to me. And I think you're right. I think they're gonna. I think there's a good shot that they finish under 500.
Yeah, for sure.
It's sad to say, and it's a sad ending to the episode here, Lee. But
yeah,
that's how I stand right now. I think that's all I got for you. If you got anything else, let me know.
I got nothing else for you, bud.
Alrighty then. Let's sign off of this.
Sounds good. I'll see you.